Hello, I'm Shauna, passionate about pages, and this is the newest edition of my Expand the Kit series. Today I'm working with the Confetti birthday kit, and I am using the supplies for one each of the cards to create a scrapbook layout. Okay, so I'll just show you what the cards look like. This one is, as the instructions say, this one's slightly elevated. There's a cute little birthday present one, and they're all shaker cards, these ones, and then this little birthday cake one. Okay, so that's kind of, where I started. Now, the envelopes for this one are so fun. The flap is decorated in a print that is the same pattern as one of the cards. And then the envelopes are coloured all over to match the colours in these patterns. So that's great. I've got quite a bit of plain cardstock from those envelopes and the back of this card and this card should I need it. And I've got that pattern that all mixes and matches that I can use as well. Because they were shaker cards, there are small pieces of cardstock that were sized to fit inside a little cello bag, and that's how the shaker was created. That just slid in there with the gems on top of it. So I can either choose to use some of them as shakers or use this cardstock for other things. Okay, and then because there were 3 of these gift cards, I have 12 little squares that are 1 1/4 inches that I could use if I want to. I also have some of the sentiment shapes left over, and the sentiments have some silver embossing around the edges, and on this card front these little shapes are silver embossed too. So I'm thinking that I will bring in some silver foil card. Because it's going to be quite bright, I'm going to work on a white background. And what I've decided is that I'm going to use the Let's Party stamp to make this part of a title. And I'm actually going to journal in here on the cake because this is part of a series of pages about one event, so I won't need heaps and heaps. So I will be trimming off this here, which means I can also use that for something else along the way. And then this one, I thought it could be fun. It was a 1-year-old's birthday party, my grandson, and there's just some cute photos with him with different expressions on. And so I thought I could make a collage of 4 photos just of his little face to go behind here. So I don't know that I'm going to use the shaker elements on this layout, but anything could happen. All right, so what I'm going to do first, I've decided I'm going to create a 4-inch border across the bottom made up of multicolored stripes from the envelopes and the patterns that go across both, and then a little matching maybe 1-inch segment at the top. Okay, and then my photos can go through the middle, and then I'll decide where these 2 sort of feature elements are going to go. Alrighty, so let's prep the strips. So we need to undo the envelopes, and I'm thinking that a bone folder might be helpful for me. It will tear a little bit there. I'm trying to get it so that it doesn't tear around to the front. It won't matter about this piece because I can cut that off. Okay, so if I do this carefully, I end up with those two pieces. All right, and I'll do the same for the other envelopes. Then I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and I want to separate the flap from the envelope. So I will line the join up with the track of my trimmer. Beautiful. And I've decided that I want my strips to be 1.5 inches wide. So I'm going to keep this because you just never know when that could be handy. I'll square this off as best I can here, and then 4 inches here, and then that'll be the bit at the bottom of the page, and this will be the bit at the top of the page. So this dictates how big all the other things are going to be. So there's one. Oh yeah, I can get it at 1 inch. Awesome. So that'd be top and bottom, and I'll do that to the other 2 flaps. Now I need 16 strips going across. So I've got 3. I can get 3 out of like one width of an envelope. So that would be 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, yeah, plenty. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut this one down to 4 inches. Then I will tidy this one up. I am going to throw that bit away because it's a bit yucky. And that is 4 inches high. And to get 3 of the strips, I need 4.5. And then 3. And then 1.5. Right, so that's those 3. And remember, I need to have a 1 inch piece to match each one. I might have to crib a little bit of that other bit of envelope for these ones because that's only 4. So I'll cut it. That can go on the spares. That can go there. Yep. And then on this one, I'll just cut a 1.5 inch strip. Oopsie. And use that. So you're going to do this to each of the envelopes to create the things. This takes a little baby bit of time, but once you've done this, the layout should come together pretty easily. So if I do that now with these other 2 envelopes, I'll end up with 3 sets that look like that. And then for this card here, that is going to be a little bit easier. If I cut it at 4 inches, and then yes, this is going to work. If I cut it at 4.5, 3, 1.5. Now I'm wondering if I'm going to have enough for those toppers. This is 1 inch, but it's only 4 inches. So I'm going to make 2 the right size, and this one will be a little smaller, but I figure I'll be able to like cover the join or something with something else there. So I'm not going to be too stressed about that. Alrighty, and then I will do the same to this one. All right, here we go. So I've got 4 plains and 3 prints. There's 6 prints all together and 12 planes. So let's just have a little play with the prints first of all, because I've got 4 of these and only then 2 different ones. So I don't want like each side to be perfectly matchy. So I'll try having some different gaps between them. I don't want to have 2 prints together. All right, so let's just start playing with these planes. I might run into trouble because I've got so much dark blue. I'm happy with that because there's sort of a bit of space between the colours that duplicate themselves. So then I will just make these ones match at the top, and that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches in the middle to play with. So I'm happy with the way that's looking. Now remember, I only had, on a couple of pieces, I only had enough to make a 1 inch square. Well, because I didn't use all of the larger sapphire colour ones, the blue ones, that's not a problem. So it was only one of the printed blue ones. And you know, on the envelopes, on the flaps, I cut off this small segment. So I just took a little bit of that one off, and then I'm going to tuck that in here, and I lift that one up, tuck that under there, and then give that a haircut. It's not perfect, but I think in the scheme of things, it's not going to be noticeable because it's not near the corners and it's not near the join. And yes, the pattern doesn't match perfectly, but it will be okay. I fudge things all the time on my layouts, and no one ever looking through my albums has gone, oh my goodness, that's appalling. It just never happens. I think we're just sometimes too fussy. Now it's a matter of deciding where some of these other elements are going to go. Like the idea of having that little, you know how I said I wanted to do the little collage of his face up here, this one down here, and then I can have a bank of photos in the middle. Here's where I think I'm going with it. 6 photo wells, but always bearing in mind a 4x6 can become 2 3x4s anywhere I want it to go, and I could add flip flaps to these ones. I decided to put these elements on an angle just because it's very energetic paper, and that sort of echoes that energy. This will be my story here. I've only got 4 candles. The cards have 5 candles, but I didn't get my first one centered, so 4, that's okay. Doesn't actually match the age of the person, doesn't matter. I will, once I have my photos printed, decide if I'm going to write on here, leave that blank, maybe put the person's name. I'll just have to wait for that. So whatever you put here, you know, this could be a journal spot. It could, you might stamp decorations on it. You might just leave it plain and just have the little collage of photos there. I think up here I'm going to stamp Oh Happy Day, which came in the kit, and that kind of covers some of that join that I was talking about before. And then these photos, if I use the photos I'm thinking of using, they're very busy. There's a lot going on. There's kids in all sorts of bright colours. I will probably use like the sapphire blue colour, or I think that one's in Stampin' Up Land, it's Night of Navy, to mount them. But as I say, I haven't printed my photos yet, so I'll make that decision later on. But just overlapping them a little bit, again, gives a bit of energy, less formality. But remember earlier I said I thought I would like to bring in some of the silver foiling. in here, and so I think where I want to build it in is just where these strips finish across the top. It'll do two things. It will, you know, oh, I think that, like, immediately I love that better than this. So it will bring that in and add a bit more sparkle to the page. But if any of these joins are uneven, it will also cover that. So if your cutting wasn't perfect. Oh, and looking in this one, I won't need a whole strip. I'll be able to just put little bits poking out the side of this one. And then remember we had all these little scraps left over. So these are the sorts of things that you can just build in little elements, like little layers tucked behind some of the photos that you've got, or maybe tucked in behind that one. So again, it just brings in some more pattern and colour. And then the same with some of these. Like if I wanted to have a little tab with the date on it, cut that from a thin cut, I could use one of these plain colours. So down here might be a good place to have a date. I could cut it in the green because I haven't used that down here, and then, you know, tuck that there for the date of the party. I think I'll do that, and then I'm going to call that quits because I can't show you the photos anyway because they're of my grandchildren and all their friends, and for privacy reasons we don't put those on social media, so you just have to imagine that. But hopefully there's enough there for you to be inspired to have a go at this one yourself.